All right, so this research you sent over, wow. It's all about like technology and how it affects our minds. And I'm already, I gotta say, completely fascinated. We've got some interesting sources here. Like we've even got insights from, get this, an AI chatbot. And
Yeah.
this other piece, it compares technology to like a genie in a bottle. Pretty wild, huh? I think this is gonna be a good one.
Yeah, it's really something. I think the really interesting thing here is like we're not just looking at the typical stuff, like, oh, how much time you spend on your phone and all that social media stuff. This goes deeper. This is about how tech is like changing how we think on a deeper level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And even the AI, it's not giving us some basic, like generic advice. It actually has some pretty interesting ways to, deal with this tech world we live in. One of the things I noticed right away was this whole digital detox thing, which, I mean, let's be real, we all struggle with that, right?
Oh, totally. But what's really smart, I think, is how the AI doesn't just say, okay, unplug everything. It actually says we can like use technology to manage, our use of technology.
So like fighting fire with fire,
Hmm.
using tech to kind of tame the tech. I like that.
Right. That's the idea.
The AI even mentioned like the Pomodoro technique. I used to think that was just like, some productivity fad.
Oh yeah, it's definitely trendy, but there's actually some real research behind it. Studies, they actually show that our brains, they work best in cycles, not like always on.
Mhm.
And that Pomodoro thing, it uses that like natural rhythm so you can focus better, be more productive over time. And here's the cool part. You're using a timer, right? That's basically tech. And you're using it to train your brain to focus better.
So we're kind of like hacking our own biology, using using the same stuff that distracts us,
so.
right?
Yeah.
I'm starting to see why people like this technique so much. But okay, let's talk about the genie in a bottle idea for a sec. That's a powerful image. What do you think about that?
Yeah, the source that uses that analogy, it's talking about how powerful technology is. It's a good point, I think. Both technology and our minds, they can create incredible things, good and bad. But like a genie, tech can be unpredictable. It can even be dangerous if we don't know how to control it.
It's like, all those unintended consequences we hear about all the time. Right?
Okay.
So fake news spreading,
Oh.
our privacy, disappearing. And then there's AI. It could be biased. It's like we've unleashed this
Yeah.
powerful thing, but we don't really get what it could, what it could all mean.
Exactly. And I think that's why that genie idea is so important. It reminds us that like we can't just, sit back and just use technology. We have to understand it, how powerful it is, and use it wisely. We have to watch out for the bad stuff that can happen.
And that brings us back to the AI,
Yeah.
and how it said technology isn't like alive.
Yeah.
It's a tool. So that means we're the ones in control, right? Like technology is only as good or bad as, as the people using it.
Well, that's a question a lot of people have been thinking about, philosophers, tech people. And there isn't really an easy answer. It's true, tech isn't conscious, it doesn't have its own goals or anything, but it does change, how we think, how we act, even our values.
Yeah, you're right. It's a loop, isn't it? We create tech, and then that tech changes how we see the world, how we interact with each other.
Exactly.
But like, if we want to be more in control, where do we even start?
The AI, it talks about being aware. And that's not just some, buzzword. It's the foundation for making, good choices about how we use tech. It's like pause before you just start scrolling on your phone, right?
Yeah.
Ask yourself why you're even like reaching for your phone and just, realize all these digital things are fighting for your attention.
Okay, so be aware. But it's more than just that, right? We need to understand why we have these tech habits in the first place.
You got it. It's about, understanding how our brains work, how these algorithms, they're made to keep you hooked, how all this information, it can mess with your focus, your mood, even how you make decisions.
So we got to become like digital detectives, crack the code, figure out how it all works so we can make smarter choices.
Right. And the AI actually gives us, some ideas about how to do that, like setting these clear goals for using tech.
Yeah, that was something I found interesting too. It's so easy to just like get sucked into whatever's popping up on our screens, right?
Mm.
But if you know why you're using tech, it can help.
It's like, think about wandering around a city, right? No map, you don't know where you're going, versus like having a map and a destination. If you know what you're trying to find, you won't get, distracted so easily. So the AI is saying we got to ask ourselves, what are we even trying to get out of using tech? Is it connection with people, knowledge, just fun stuff.
It's like instead of letting that genie go wild, you're giving it specific instructions. Yeah.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. And then, once you know what you want, you can be pickier about the apps you use. The AI even says you should choose apps that are like designed to help you reach those goals.
Oh, okay. So like what would that look like? Can you give an example?
Sure, yeah. Let's say you want to read more books, right? Instead of just downloading like any old reading app, you could find one that, gets rid of distractions, tracks how much you're reading, maybe even connects you with like other readers. So you're using tech to help you read, not to like pull you away from it.
That makes a lot of sense. It's way more, what's the word, intentional than just downloading whatever app is popular.
Right.
Or whatever the App Store tells you to get. It makes me think, like, are there other things we can do to, like, make our digital world, I don't know, more helpful, I guess?
Totally. The AI, it talks about these like tech-free zones in your house or wherever you are. Like you pick certain places where no tech is allowed. The dinner table, the bedroom, places like that.
Oh, I have a friend who does that. She has she calls it a phone parking lot by her front door. And everyone, when they come over, they got to leave their phone there. It's simple, but it really changes how they interact.
It's a great example, right? You can actually change your environment to get rid of distractions. It helps you focus on the people you're with. And it's not just about like physical space. You can do the same thing digitally.
So like turning off notifications, setting limits on how long you can be on certain apps, maybe unsubscribing from all those like tempting emails.
Exactly. You got to control your digital diet, like you would with the food you eat. You have to be careful about what information you're taking in, how it affects you.
Okay, so we've got setting goals, using the right tools, setting those boundaries. But what about the actual stuff we're looking at online? It's not just how much we use tech, it's what we're using it for, right?
Right. That's a really important point. And the AI actually talks about that. It says we got to curate like our digital diet. So instead of just, passively scrolling through whatever pops up, we have to be more careful about the information we're letting into our minds.
So it's like instead of just grabbing whatever junk food is around, you're actually like preparing a healthy meal.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy because, information is kind of like food. It can be good for you or it can be bad for you. The AI is saying be critical of the sources you're getting your information from, find different points of view and challenge yourself to look at stuff that makes you think, that helps you grow.
So we got to become like experts in how to use media, how to understand it, right? Learn to tell what's true and what's not, how to spot bias, and be a little skeptical of everything you see online.
Exactly. And it's not just about, avoiding fake news and stuff. It's about finding information that inspires you, that, challenges you to think differently, information that helps you grow.
I really like that. It's not about like rejecting all technology, right?
Yeah.
Becoming one of those, what they called Luddites. It's about being like aware, being smart about how you use tech.
And, even if you're doing everything right, there are going to be times when it feels like too much, when there's just too much, digital noise, when you just need a break.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's like hitting a digital wall or something. So what does the AI say to do when that happens?
Well, it comes back to, disconnecting. And that doesn't have to be like some big thing. You don't have to go live in a cabin in the woods or anything. Just take a few hours, each day, just like completely turn off. Go for a walk, read a book, talk to someone face to face, anything that gives your mind a break.
It all comes down to being in control,
Right.
Making choices and using tech to make your life better, not worse.
It's it feels like we really dug into this whole topic. We looked at, practical stuff and then like the bigger picture. It's a complicated relationship, between tech and how we think.
It is. And the thing that really sticks with me is that we do have power here. It's easy to feel like tech is controlling us, but these sources, they remind us that we have more control than we think.
Yeah, that's right. We can choose how we use tech, the information we, let ourselves see. We can even change our like digital world, can't we?
It's like we're, I don't know, like the architects, right? We get to build our own digital lives.
That's a good way to think about it. We've got the plans, the tools, the materials to build something that works for us, something good.
So, okay, if we had to like sum it all up, what's the main takeaway here?
It's using tech to help you grow, not letting it control you. It's about being aware, being careful, making good choices about how you use tech, how you interact with the digital world.
It's taking back our focus, our time, our attention, and using that to build a life that's, that's real, that has meaning, that makes you happy.
And, you know, that genie analogy, it's a good way to remember all this. Tech is like this powerful genie. We have to be careful what we wish for.
Yeah, that's something to think about, isn't it? What are we asking technology to do for us? And are we sure those wishes are good for us in the long run?